Hey guys, what's up? How we doing? Welcome to it. This is Upfront with Kaz, and today it is Inside the Ring. Joining me shortly will be Colin Nathan, one of our top boxing coaches in the country over the past 10 years or so. We're going to be talking about Manny Pacquiao today. I'm just taking a look at all his highlights. I mean, this guy was and is still amazing. Yes, he got knocked out by Marquez, but just to see the different divisions in which he conquered at was just amazing. So if you're just joining us, stay tuned. We've got Colin Nathan coming onto the show. We'll be talking about the amazing Manny Pacquiao. I mean, and this just an example of this fighter. He's fought in divisions such as light flyweight, super bantamweight, featherweight, super featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, light welterweight, went up, went back down to welterweight, light middleweight. It's just on and on, and the thing is, he is so remarkable and so respected in his home country for doing amazing things. That yes, this is we had to give him his own half an hour. Last week we were talking about Sugar Ray Leonard, and we had a question about was Sugar Ray Leonard better in ways than Manny Pacquiao. So we thought, let's just jump the gun, let's go forward, talk about Manny and his accomplishments. We're going to be touching on all the greats during the course of the show, on all the greats. So we're just standing by for Colin Nathan to join us.
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing?
Viva Kaz, how you, brother?
Sure. I'm just watching the Manny Pacquiao highlights, bro. Hey.
Yeah, crazy kid, crazy fighter, just a special human being.
Awesome. So, if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Up front with the Kaz, and this is Inside the Ring. This is our third edition. Joining me, Colin Nathan, one of our top coaches over the past 10, 20 years. We talk boxing every week. First week we talked about Muhammad Ali. Last week Sugar Ray Leonard, and we had some comments that someone asked whether we thought that Sugar Ray Leonard was better than Manny. So we thought, let's jump the gun, let's go straight to Manny. I mean, this guy has fought in like 9, 10 divisions. It's crazy. So we've got
over the mini flyweight division. So he effectively, I guess if it's a pound, it's probably closer to mini fly. So he started as a mini flyweight, you could say.
Yes.
First fight in theory as a junior fly, but he won his first world title as a flyweight. That's crazy to think.
He's done light flyweight, he's done flyweight, he's done super bantamweight, featherweight,
Right.
super featherweight, lightweight, light welterweight, light middleweight. I mean, who does shit like that, bro? Who goes?
Only Manny Pacquiao. I mean, it's crazy. So I got a very strong connection to the whole Manny Pacquiao career and fighter.
With his coach, bro. You know his coach personally as well.
That's the one aspect of it. The one I actually saw Manny win his first world title in Thailand, and let me tell you how it happened. I happened to be in Thailand in December of '98, and I happened to be in my hotel room, and I turned on the TV, and I watched boxing.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, I can't speak Thai and I can't understand it, but I remember the name Pacquiao, and I remember him winning his first world title, and it was just crazy. So what happened was he lost his title, and for some reason, I just carried on following his career. He moved up to super bantamweights, and then he got an opportunity out of the blue, and he was a late replacement to challenge our very own Ledwaba, Hansa Stone Ledwaba. And I remember going into that fight thinking to myself, this is a real dangerous fight for our South African champion.
Yeah.
And at the time, I remember phoning Ron Jackson, who's probably one of the greatest historians in South African boxing history, still alive today. And I said to him, Pacquiao's going to beat Ledwaba. And he said to me, what are you talking about? Like, no one gave him a chance. Everyone thought I was on drugs. But I'd been following his career, so I knew. And then when he stopped the driver, I wasn't surprised. And then just obviously he just went on to fame. I mean, it's just incredible to think, you know, he fought Barrera, he fought Morales. There were some great fights. And then he just moved up the divisions.
Yeah. So before we go into the beef of his fighting career, he started out very young. I mean, we had a kid that was like 14 years old around there. And I think apparently the government also believed in him so much that they helped pay for his rent and just to make sure that he would train. So this kid showed talent from a young age. The nice thing about where he comes from, fighting is part of what they do. Either you're a Muay Thai fighter or a boxer, and that's how a lot of guys take care of their families. So his amateur career, what do you know about the amateur career? Apparently 60 wins, 4 losses, somewhere around there.
So I'm not well versed with his amateur career, but I do know that he grew up very hard, very tough and very hard, very poor. And literally it's just amazing to see that, like, again, I've said it to you on one of the shows before, that boxing saves lives. Yeah. Can you imagine what Pacquiao, we never would have had, if boxing never came into Manny Pacquiao's life, we never would have seen probably one of the greatest fighters who ever lived and who ever breathed. And I say that confidently because irrespective of his losses, because all the greats lose except if you're Floyd Mayweather, but that's another debate. The man's won 8 world titles in 8 divisions, okay? Some he's reclaimed titles in the same division, particularly welterweight. But also what you need to also think about is he's also won 5 linear world championships, as far as I know, 4, 5. But that's remarkable. That's remarkable. And if you think that he started at 106 pounds and went up to junior middleweight, yes, it was a catchweight at 150 pounds. It was still middleweight because it was still over welterweight division. That's just incredible. That's just incredible, beating Antonio Margarita. So, yeah, I mean, he's just he's one of those fighters that I think just come once in a lifetime. And I just don't think we'll ever see another fighter win 8 world titles in 8 weight divisions.
It's crazy. What amazes me about Manny Pacquiao is that even when he goes up a division and he puts on this extra weight and whatever, he still maintains that speed and that fitness and that ability to keep coming forward. What I admire is also, I mean, I love to see a nice southpaw coming in and playing. But when he's in, he's almost like he's falling forward into those punches when he's getting that. There was this one fight where the commentator, I think it was in the 8th round, the commentator lost his marbles. He was going bang and bang, bang and bang. He was so caught up in Manny's punches that, you know, he lost.
Yeah, here's the thing you need to think about, is that when he was falling over his feet, well, he did a double feint and he walked onto Marquez's right hand, and it was probably one of the most vicious and brutal knockouts of the last decade. Okay, so he looked like he was shot. He was dead, God forbid, but he got up. Now, here's the thing, and I'm fast forwarding a lot because we're obviously going to go back in this.
Yeah.
Last year, the comeback of the year at the age of 40 was Manny Pacquiao. Why? When he fought Keith Thurman, who was unbeaten, was 30 years young, 10 years younger than Pacquiao, was a hotshot guy, a little inconsistent because of inactivity, but was expected to beat Pacquiao. And what happened? Pacquiao defied Father Time. Dropped Thurman in the first round, hit him badly in the body in the 10th round, and won. I think it was a split decision. How was a split decision? I don't know. To me, it was a clear-cut victory. But that's crazy. I mean, age of 40, he's now 41, and he's one of the top 10 fighters in the world still. It's just remarkable. And that's what I'm saying. And he's been in some hard fights.
Yeah, he's
early in his career as well. You know, if you look at the Morales fights, you know, he lost the first one, not won the next 2. But just a wrecking ball and just great humanitarian. What he's done for the world. He's like, you know, like you get fighters who transcend the sport of boxing. He's one of those guys. And you like him to a guy like Ali, because we've discussed this before, I think previously, Kaz, that he's one of those guys that he's a role model. He does a lot for his country, loves his country, congressman, senator. it doesn't get better than Manny Pacquiao. To me, one of my all-time greats. Obviously, in terms of just stylistically, I love Leonard, but one of the greatest fighters in boxing history, Manny Pacquiao, no question.
Let's talk about some of the greatest fights that he's been in, some of the wars. And then after that, we're going to go to him against Mayweather, how that was hyped up and stuff. But because he had, I mean, that, first of all, that knockout that knocked him out, that he walked into, that just broke my heart in many ways. But there was so much competition between those two fighters.
Well, you also need to remember that the rivalries in boxing make those fighters. You know, we've discussed it before. You've got Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali. You know, you've got those kind of fights. Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward. And those kind of rivalries in boxing actually make heroes. You've got Leonard Duran, exactly, and Tommy Hearns, Leonard. So you look back and you first think when Pacquiao fought Morales, he lost in points. And then what happened the next two fights? But then he beat Barrera, or he beat Barrera before. I need to check that out. But those are classic fights. And then there was Marquez. And I believe it was, what was it, 14 years ago? 16 years ago when they fought, 2004, I believe. And they've just had great rivalry. Obviously, the last say was with a right hand with Marquez. But both those two guys made each other to a point. And then Pacquiao started rising up, as did Marquez. And then he challenged, then he fought De La Hoya, which he was a massive underdog because De La Hoya was so much bigger and stronger. And that kind of changed the dynamics of Manny Pacquiao.
That was a life changer. That De La Hoya fight was what sort of pushed him into stardom, I would say, right? Because Oscar was a legend. Oscar was a superstar. And
to De La Hoya's credit, he wanted to fight. Obviously, he was trying to chase the rematch with Mayweather, and that wasn't happening. Then he fought, obviously, Stevie Forbes, and he wanted a real challenge. And he thought, well, let me put on my skills against Manny Pacquiao, who many regarded at the time as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter. But at that stage, a lot of people felt that De La Hoya was just too big and too strong. One-way traffic. And then you look at the momentum after that. There was Hatton and there was Cotto. And those are two great wins. And I believe at that point then, that was probably Pacquiao's prime. And the fact that he's just been going on and getting results, and he's lost a couple. Sorry, lost a few. The Jeff Horn loss was debatable. You know, we'll talk about the Mayweather loss and then obviously Tim Bradley. But phenomenal. And the fact that he's still going at the age of 41. I mean, I'm 42, so that kind of puts things in perspective. Like, I always try and gauge, right? I always try and gauge, well, like Hopkins carried on when he was 50. Okay, so there's still hope for me. But all seriousness, like, I think it's just fascinating because, you know, you're in the fitness game. Your body's not the same as when you're in your 20s, even in your early 30s. And you get to, like, your late 30s and you're still performing at that level. Yeah. Then you get to your 40s and you're still world champion. I mean, to me, that's just remarkable.
So that I put down to a complete lifestyle, and even with Bernard Hopkins as well. It's a lifestyle. First of all, it's mind. It's mind, body, it's spirit. It's what the person eats, thinks, see, who they surround themselves with. That's constant. You can only be fighting or be on that level with the right people around you, and the right, we call it the right paradigm, the right habitual things in your life that you just follow and do the right things. Otherwise, there's no other way, because a lot of sportsmen, as soon as they give up, they put on weight and everything else. You'll find people like Hopkins and Manny, years after they're fighting, will still be in the same condition because it's a mental game. What would you say is the strongest attribute of Manny Pacquiao? As a fighter,
well, let me just go
from a skill level and just from an overall level?
Let me just go back to what you were saying. And I agree with you, because I think keeping in shape keeps you young, mentally young. And it's interesting, I was looking at a picture of Lucas Maitise, who obviously he had his last fight against Pacquiao almost 2 years ago in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. And I looked at him then and I look at him now, and it's been 2 years that he's been out the ring, and he's aged about 20 years. So I think fitness and training and mentally, that stuff all is related to you being in a good state mentally and obviously keeping you young. His biggest attribute man, I just think his combinations and his speed. I mean, even at the age of 40 last year, I'm not gauging him when he's 41 because he hasn't fought this year, obviously because of COVID-19. I just think his hand speed. You know, I've been fortunate to have been in a training camp with him, and obviously be ringside when he's fought, and just obviously been around the whole Pacquiao stigma, and his hand speed and his just desire and his determination is just incredible. It's just incredible. He's just that's why I'm saying I just think he's a remarkable athlete as well, even at the advanced age of 41 now.
You've been in his training camp. You've been there with the top coach, the coach that coaches him. I mean, what is that feeling like being in that camp? What is the energy that comes? What did you pick up from being there?
You being in that environment and being in that energy, you truly understand the meaning of greatness. And remember something, Kaz, you know, I've been fortunate to be around that. And success filters and filters down around people there as well. But success benefits everyone and failure doesn't. So being around that kind of greatness, you know, when you see how training camps are conducted and how from the smallest things from mitt work and so forth are being done, that greatness you soak in.
Yeah.
So as a learning experience, I felt like I was doing my master's in boxing. That kind of makes sense when you
Freddie Rhodes. There's only a few other greats. He's like in, you know what I'm saying, in the top box.
So for me, you need to understand is that Freddie is also one of the last line of great American trainers because he learned from Eddie Futch. Eddie Futch was probably one of the greatest trainers of all time. Not, in my opinion, not the best, but that's Ray Sell. But that's the line. So, you know, Freddie's just great. But I mean, I do think that both trainer and fighter and Freddie and Manny, they both made each other. There was definitely a component where the two of them gelled, and it's almost like the neurons wired together, and then they fired together.
Manny also comes with his own close-knit team that he's always kept around him as far as fitness and other stuff is concerned, his family, so that he feels safe within a certain crew and that he takes with him that continue his own sort of training. So it's just amazing to see also the loyalty that he has there and the humility. The humility is one thing that always comes out of Manny, you know? I mean, how do you maintain that? Yeah, Karen?
So firstly, I just want to say, Viva Stoke. I see he's just joined the show, so big shout out to my boy in Japan. So Boo Boy, who's Manny's a trainer, best friend, confidant, they've been together for 100 years. Manny's a very loyal kind of guy, from just obviously being around everyone, you know, being around the camps and the fights and stuff. And it's obviously, you know, like if you look at some of the greatest fighters in boxing history, very rarely have they changed their coaches, or have they had more than 2 or 3 coaches. And the point is that Manny's been very loyal to his team, and his team have been very loyal to him. You know, like how will Pacquiao be remembered? You got to use the word great, and you've also got to use the word before great is 2 words, is all-time great. So I think, I honestly believe, and I know that the old school guys will probably shoot me for this, but he has to be one of the top 10 fighters, greatest fighters in boxing history. And that's only because of his resume. And do I think he's had a better boxing career than Floyd Mayweather? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. The young guys, people know me that I'm not a Mayweather fan. I respect his brilliance in the ring. I do. I think he's one of the greatest boxers in history. But do I think Pacquiao's had a greater career than him? Yes, absolutely. Just purely based on what he's achieved.
All those different divisions and stuff. And we know how hard it is to move to different divisions, to go up, to come down. Now let's go to that fight with Mayweather, the build-up, and what happened in that fight.
Okay. So going in, people expected, you know, it was billed as the fight of the century, right? But I don't think it was so much the fight. I think it was more the event. Remember, there's a strong tradition now in boxing where fights have to be marinated. And what I mean by marinated is that you and I want to fight, but we're going to let it simmer. We're going to wait a year. We're going to wait 2 years. And this fight, I believe, came 6 years too late. Now, the question is, did Mayweather wait and wait and wait, and he saw holes in Pacquiao? Possibly, because Mayweather's a great businessman. He's got a great boxing brain, great mind as well. The question is that going in, people favored Mayweather to a point, and then the guys who were loyal wanted Pacquiao to win. So going in, I thought Mayweather won. And I hate to say it, but I thought he won. The question was afterwards, though, what would have happened had the fight taken place 5, 6 years before that? That's the question. Now, we don't know. We don't know. Do we expect the same kind of fight? Possibly. But if you look back when Pacquiao was their wrecking ball against Cotto, Hatton, and De La Hoya, I think we're looking at a fight that it could have gone either way. But it's like when you say, how would Ali have done against Tyson? Well, we've all got an opinion. We all got our opinions on that. But we'll never know. We'll never know. So Mayweather won that fight, and he obviously solidified himself as also being great. But like I'm saying, I still think the better career belongs to Pacquiao. And again, you know, Pacquiao came back and, you know, won world titles, and he's now still a world champion. It's crazy to think, 41 years old, and Super WBA welterweight champion of the world.
So we got a question here from Nick Niseko that says Mayweather avoid him for a reason. Well, I mean, first of all, this is just my opinion. You got to look at the street smarts of Mayweather. Mayweather is like a street fighter, even when he's in the ring. He's like that oak that's snatched something from you and you're not going to get it back because he's so fast. He's very clever. In his defense, he's got brilliant defense. But more than that, he knows he's got a strong survival skill. That's why when we're talking about if a fight happened with Manny, you know what I'm saying, at an earlier date, it could have been different. Mayweather knew how to pick those fights because he had a goal. He wanted to be the all-time best, to have that record undefeated. So he was going for a goal.
So he was going for a goal, but a lot of people will question that goal. And a lot of people will always, you know, like the younger generation, and I'd like to think I'm also part of the younger generation, but they look at an unbeaten record and they think he has to be the greatest of all time. Even guys older than me in their 50s and 60s think that, you know, Floyd's the greatest fighter of all time. I disagree. You can't base it on an unbeaten record. And you also got to look at the quality of opposition. Yes, he fought some great fighters, but look at when he fought them. And that's always going to be tainted on his record. It's like, oh, yeah. So, you know, next question, Mayweather avoided him for a reason. You're going to have to say yes. You're going to have, how can you not say yes? And again, it's unfair for me to say that because I'm not a Mayweather fan. But I do respect his greatness and what he achieved for his career, for his record, and I guess for the sport.
Now, the question is right now is, I think we should go to Mayweather next week. I think it's a natural flow.
Sure.
Because my one question is, will Mayweather settle with the Conor McGregor being his last fight? Or will he be tempted to come out and maybe fight Pacquiao? Do you think he'll come out of retirement maybe? Who knows? Because he stays in shape all the time, Mayweather.
So last week there was talk about him fighting Adrian Broner. He came out with a statement a couple of days ago saying that he's done with boxing. It'll be more exhibitions. I don't know. You just never know with Floyd. And one of the reasons could be is he loves money. He makes no, he doesn't hide the fact that he loves money. And I guess if there's enough money, he'll come out. But also there's an ego element to Floyd, which obviously can't be disputed. You know, even when you're around him and you're in his presence, you also get that feeling. There's a lot of ego behind what he wants to do. Yeah. So I don't know. I would like to think he's going to stay retired.
Well,
but, you know, we're living...
Let's wait for next week to talk about that. What I do want to talk about, because you
But
mentioned.
hold on, before you carry on, I just want to say that COVID-19 is making all these fighters come up with all these wacky statements. You know, you've seen Mike Tyson now wanting to come back. I mean, I just think COVID-19 has really screwed up a lot of boxers and their thought process. And I'm just hoping that, you know, guys can just get back to reality a little bit more, because I don't want to see Tyson back in the ring. I mean, I love the guy as a kid growing up.
At least he's exercising, bro. It's one thing to go from
Kaz,
the most dangerous guy on the planet to just smoking herb the whole time. But at least there's a balance now. At least.
Kaz, I'm also rapping to myself in the shower. That doesn't mean I'm Eminem or Vanilla Ice. Let's be real, yeah. There's a certain limitations to all of us. Tyson was a great fighter. I don't think he should be fighting anymore.
Yeah. Unless he fights a guy from the old school, maybe even against Holyfield and make a cut.
I mean, there's been talk about that. There's been talk about Berta. You know, I don't even want to entertain that, really.
Okay, so Manny, let's go back to Manny. The Broner fight.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Adrian Broner against Manny Pacquiao.
Okay, so for me, one of the biggest flops probably in the last 10, 15 years in boxing has been Adrian Broner. You know, his antics out the ring, flushing money down the toilet, getting drunk, you know, getting into fights. He was very lucky to land the Pacquiao fight, I thought. And I thought he decisively lost the fight. I mean, his post-fight interview where he claims he won and he was robbed. And I saw something on Instagram, was it 2 weeks ago, that he wants $8 million to come. I mean, funny enough, I expected Pacquiao to beat Broner, and I thought he did convincingly.
Yeah.
And then obviously, you know, then he had the big one against Thurman, which is great.
So I think what's important to realize is that we pay an honor today to a guy called Manny Pacquiao, who not only is a great fighter, but as a human being is so humble, so inspiring. The fact that, because we want to give him his flowers while he's alive, the stuff that he's doing in his own community, apparently still staying there, giving back to the people around him and inspiring. We just want to say that is amazing, Manny Pacquiao. If you ever see this interview, we give you a shout out and respect. Broner, of course, my only comments about that fight is at the end he was like talking about representing the hood. No, I'm from the hood, bro. You didn't represent us. You gotta keep it real, guys. You gotta keep it real. You know what I'm saying? What are your closing comments about Manny Pacquiao? Give us a summary of what you got from him, you know, and just your words.
Icon, inspiration, hero, great fighter, great human being. And I like what you said. We need to appreciate fighters, you know, while they're alive, because we have a tendency to really only appreciate fighters once they're no longer with us. And I don't think that Pacquiao falls into that category. I think he's appreciated and respected and admired now. But I just think we're very lucky to be living through this time where we can see a boxing great perform as a humanitarian, perform as a role model, and just perform as a great fighter. I'm very blessed to have met him. And I have some great memories with Manny. And please God, he will be remembered as an all-time great. He will, in my opinion.
So I'm just glad that I'm the guy who knows the guy that knows the guy. Who knows the guy? So Colin, this has been amazing. This show so far is going well. Again, we always close with your closing words to the people that are watching. Let's have some positivity out there for anyone that is watching the show today before you go.
Yeah, to everyone out there, just obviously, you know, we are level 4 at the moment. Hopefully, please God, things get to level 3 and 2 and 1 so we can get back to some sort of normality. Just stay safe, look after your families, look after yourselves, and we will see you again next week.
Awesome. Colin, we'll see you next week inside the ring on Upfront with Kaz. God bless you. God bless your family. And all the blessings to everyone.
Take care.
Okay, cheers. Peace out. Guys, if you just joined us, well, this was Upfront with Kaz and me, Kaz Abrams. If you're not following me, please press follow on the like. What I do is I take this live tape and I edit it and I'm going to put it on my YouTube channel, which is Kaz Abrams One Up Productions. If you look there, you'll see there's 2 episodes with Colin and I talking about Muhammad Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard last week. So this should be up in the next couple of days or so. Please follow here, follow there, and let us know who you'd like us to talk about in the following weeks. I think next week we talk about Floyd Mayweather. Whether you like him or not, you know, he's got those wins under his belt. Stay strong, stay positive, stay healthy.